Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So first of all, tomorrow's ratings, so Friday's ratings, are actually free for everybody. I want to make sure that all our free members are also seeing all of our ratings. So first of all, just navigate to the races and they will automatically be the ratings. But I just want to make sure that you're all seeing all of the stats. To do that, go up to Settings, CSV up here, click Column Settings, click Show All, and then click Update, and then you will see all of the stats. I think a lot of you are seeing these and thinking this is all we provide as premium for premium and pro members. We don't. There's significantly more stats if you click Show All and then Update. Okay, so let's move on to Friday's analysis. Just a heads up, there will be one selection for Saturday in today's video as well. So starting off in the 115 at Cheltenham, the 2 mile 3, 200 yards handicap hurdle. The horse I like here is currently available at 20 to 1. It's American Sniper. So American Sniper is going to run here off 122. The last time he ran off 122, he ran at Cheltenham and he won. So first of all, you know, there's a positive there, isn't there? He's back down to his last winning mark. He's back at Cheltenham over a very similar distance. Jack Tudor on instead of Fergus Gillard. The form of that race, he beat White Rhino and Paris Couleur. White Rhino came out and won the following race at Cheltenham. Not the following race, but next time out, he won at Cheltenham, beating Bold Endeavour, having previously won at Carlisle. So the form looked strong anyway. The third horse, Paris Couleur, had previously finished second in that race, has now finished second and third in that handicap race. I imagine we'll see him back again this year for David Pipe. So American Sniper beating those, there was no, it wasn't a fluke. We then have to look at his subsequent form. So he ran well next time out. He finished fourth off a £6 higher mark at Taunton, beaten 12 lengths by Samuel Spade, who just needed to get back to his best to demonstrate that he was well handicapped. It didn't quite work that day for American Sniper, but he still ran okay off 128. He then went to Newbury on heavy going, disappointed. Wincanton on soft going, disappointed. Then he had wind surgery, and then he's come back with one run in the Silver Trophy at Chepstow. Now, he didn't run great in the Silver Trophy last year at Chepstow off 127, dropped to 125, then dropped to 122, and then won at Cheltenham. This time he's dropped from the 125 down to the 122. Why can't he win at Cheltenham again? He's back down to the same mark. He didn't run well at Cheltenham Chepstow the year before. Jack's on board. I think the fact that they're bringing him out so quickly as well, it's only been 13 days since they ran in the Welsh Champion Hurdle. They obviously feel that he's absolutely fine. David's horses are going pretty well. I can't see why American Sniper doesn't run a big race here on good ground. I think that's definitely a positive for him. You know, there are some unexposed horses in this race. In the Air, Push the Button, Support Act, Why Not, Deep Cave, etc. But we don't know whether they're well handicapped. They've all moved in their handicap marks. You know, like In the Air is now rated 118, having previously started the season off 106. Now he's up to 118. Is that going to be too much for him? Push the Button runs off 132. Do we know that's a good handicap mark for him? Not at all. We don't know. Do we know that 122 is a good handicap mark for American Sniper? Yes, because he's won off it. So that, you know, there's no question marks about that. It's whether there are horses ahead of their mark in this race. Whereas American Sniper might just have this one win in him off 122. Is it against some unexposed horses? They've given him every chance by having a fitness run, back on the right ground, back at Cheltenham where he likes. The form worked out well. I mean, he's got every chance, in my opinion, at 20s. I think that's a big price. Moving on to the 225 at Cheltenham. And the horse I like here, I did include this in one of my videos earlier this week. That is Calico. One of my emails, sorry. That is Calico. Calico's form in after breaks is very good. He went to Ludlow in 2021 and he won. He went to Fosslas for the Welsh Champion Hurdle. He went off the 100 to 30 favourite that day. Disappointed, he finished 8th. He went to Sandown for the Imperial Cup and disappointed, he finished 15th. He then went to Cheltenham in 2022, October 2022, and he finished 2nd. He then went to Southall in January 2023 and he won. And then he went to Cheltenham last year in a 2-mile handicap chase under Harry Skelton. He finished 2nd, beaten by Triple Trade, who opposes again. But I think he was given a poor ride that day. He went too early. Harry Skelton went far too early, in my opinion. I think he would have won it quite nicely if he'd just been a lot more patient. Harry does have that tendency sometimes to get very excited and goes for home way too early. But he was 4 out, it actually says in his write-up. Led clearly 4 out. 2 lengths ahead at the last, headed towards finish. If he'd just waited, I think he would have won quite nicely that day. And in terms of those 2 horses, for example, Triple Trade is up £5. Calico is down £1. Well, straight away, Calico's got to go well, off a similar mark as what he was. He's actually £1 lower. Plenty of positives about him. Okay, he ended the season last year in disappointing fashion, pulling up at Kempton. Still went off 3-1 that day. I think a lot of people believe that he is well handicapped when he gets it all right. And hopefully this offer break is one of the big things that he needs. He's currently available at 11-2, and I think he's going to take all the beating tomorrow, to be honest. I think he's going to run a really big race. Just hopefully Harry can wait and kick on coming into the last rather than, turning into the straight. If he can sit behind something and get a nice toe through, Calico's going to go close tomorrow for me. Moving on to the 3:35 at Cheltenham, the Glenfarclas Amateur Jockeys Handicap Chase, and we like Strictly a Dancer at 15-2. Big fan of Strictly a Dancer, to be honest. He has won twice here before. He won a 3-mile 1 Amateur Jockeys Handicap beating Fact of the Matter, and he won another 3-mile 1 beating Minds Made Up. They came off marks of 110 and 115. He then went to Haydock and won again off 122, beating Empire Steel. That's good form. He's now back down to a mark of 119, and it was his last race that really caught my eye. He went to Chepstow and was travelling oh so well in behind Copperhead, Certainly Red and Good Boy Bobby. I think he was going to win that day, and you can actually see he traded 1.52 in the run. He was travelling so well under Jack Tudor. I think it was Jack Tudor. Let's just load it up on my other screen. It was under Jack Tudor. Made a mess of the second last. Didn't jump the second last very well at all. And Jack went, stop, I'm not doing any more. He did not get after the horse after that. And was allowed to finish, in his own time in 4th. I think if he'd jumped the second last and jumped the last well, I think he would have won. And then wouldn't be in this race. He would have gone up in the handicap probably too much that he wouldn't have been able to get in here. The fact that he's had a run, he's coming out relatively quickly, 2 weeks later. Edward Vaughan on board, who is probably also wanting to make amends for when he last rode the horse. Last time he rode the horse was in a similar race to this, or it was in the November version. And he and Grandad's Cottage, ridden by James King, got left at the start, got planted at the start, lost all chance. Edward did get Strictly a Dancer back into it slowly, and actually turning for home looked like he was still going to play a big part, but just got tired late on. Probably the 122 mark, plus giving away all that ground, plus the soft ground, probably went against him. Back on better going, back off 119, as long as he jumps off on terms, which it wasn't his fault really. It was just that the starter let him go when he really shouldn't have. I think he'll go really close tomorrow off 15-2. I really like Strictly a Dancer for Christian Williams and Ed Vaughan. Edward Vaughan. It's not going to be Ed Vaughan, is it? That's the trainer. Let's just have a look. Just wanted to check something. Yeah, he's got 3 from 9 in this type of race, Edward Vaughan. So he does ride in amateur races pretty well. Moving on to the... What's my next race? The 4:45 at Cheltenham. This is the last run at Cheltenham. I then do have selections at Doncaster, Newbury, and that one at Cheltenham that I'm going to tell you about. The final one at Cheltenham is Fiercely Proud, who is actually a little bit weak in the market at the moment. It's currently available at 11 to 4. Currently available at 11 to 4. I think that's too big. I think, unless he's not fit, I think he's going to take all of the beating tomorrow. His form is really good. Third behind Lump Sum and Jericho de Repenay. Well, Lump Sum went and won the Welsh Champion Hurdle. Jericho de Repenay was a lot of people's fancy for the Supreme Novice. He's also finished second in a Grade 2 behind Lump Sum, beating ID Wood. ID Wood has obviously come out and won. Even Helnwen. Didn't Helnwen come out and win the Novices Championship final? Just having a look. Actually, it was against Fiercely Proud, wasn't it? Where is it? Lump Sum. ID Wood. I'm going to find it. Here we go. Helnwen won the championship final. I mean, that form is just so strong from Fiercely Proud that off his handicap mark, I think he's very interesting off 129. Callum also takes 10 off because he's Ben's conditional jockey. He gets to take a whopping £10 off, so he's effectively running off 119. And I've watched Callum Pritchard. I had to watch a couple of his rides. I think he's quite strong, actually. I think he's a good amateur jockey. I think he's going to be. He's not going to be a He's not going to be a £10 claimer for very long. He's going to get that down very, very quickly. Yeah, I think he looks very strong, and this is just... I'd be disappointed if they don't go... I'd be disappointed if they don't win this, to be honest. Unless he is badly out, you know, he's massive and needs the run. I would be shocked if he didn't take all of the beating here. He's won at Cheltenham in a bumper, so he's got some Cheltenham form as well. There's no negatives for me about Fiercely Proud, other than the layoff, really. 181 days. That's the only issue with him. It wouldn't surprise me if he went one of two ways tomorrow with the odds. He's currently available at 11 to 4. It wouldn't surprise him if he drifted out to like 9 to 2, 5 to 1, suggesting he needed the run. Or he went off 6 to 4 tomorrow because they went, yeah, he's ready. If Ben Pauling announces, yeah, we think he's really ready, he won't be 11 to 4. He'll be a lot shorter. So then my 4 at Cheltenham. Let's move on to Doncaster, I think, next. Let's keep going. I've loaded all these tabs about different horses. Here we go. Next one I want to talk about at Doncaster is Summergand, who, to be fair, 425 at Doncaster. Let's just have a look. 425 at Doncaster. Did I get that right? No, I didn't. Here we go. Summergand. What price can you get Summergand currently at? 11 to 2, 5 to 1. Anything about that I think is fair, to be honest. I think he's going to take all of the beating. His recent runs include a 7th in an Air Silver Cup. An Air Silver Cup is better quality opposition than what he's taken on here. This is significantly easier than what he's taken on here. At the Curragh, he ran in a Premier Handicap. He finished 6th. 6th in the Skybet Constantine at York. 4th in the Great St Wilfrid. 3rd at Newmarket in the Bunbury Cup. 3rd at Thirsk in a handicap. I mean, all of that form, in my opinion, is better than the rivals he's taken on here. This is significantly easier for him. This is a case of we need to get a win into him. Maybe they'll retire him off the back of winning this. He is 10 now. This is his chance to go out on a high, winning another race. He's so well handicapped. He's down to 87. I think that's ridiculous for him, and his form hasn't actually been that bad. I mean, if he runs a reproduction of his 4th in the Great St Wilfrid or his 6th in the Skybet Constantine, I think he beats all of these rivals here. I don't think there's anything good enough to get close to him. And he's currently, as I said, available at 11 to 2 and 5s. If you can get about 5s elsewhere, I think I would be very, very happy with that. Moving on to the 401 at Newbury. Yeah, some of these times were still ridiculous, weren't they? And the horse we like in this 401, our final selection of the day, we've got one more that I'm going to talk about that runs tomorrow at Cheltenham, is Great Bedwin. Let's see if they've priced up that race yet. He's currently forecast to be about 5-1. I think he's going to be a bit bigger than that, to be honest. Let's have a look, see if they've priced him up. They haven't. So let's do some talking about Great Bedouin. Okay. He's back at Newbury, over 1.5 miles in a Class 3. That's already a positive, because he won at Newbury. Last time he ran at Newbury, he won here. He beat Lieber Power, who was RTR2, so the form was the correct form in terms of our ratings. It was nearly, relatively in order. Great Bedouin won, beating the right horse. He then went up to 1.6 miles, and I thought he ran a really good race behind Align the Stars and Fairbanks. Now, both of those have done reasonably well since. Align the Stars has actually been running in group races, whilst Fairbanks ran a good effort in the Ebor. What was he beaten? Let's just have a look on my other screen. He was beaten 8 lengths in the Ebor, but he still ran okay. And then, even then, he's come out and finished 4th in a listed race, beaten 5 lengths by Absurd. That looks really good form for Great Bedouin. He then stepped up to 2 mile and a bit for a handicap at York, the Stayers handicap at York, and he finished 6th, behind Extensio, Samui, Tritonic, Quantum Leap, Divine Comedy, Great Bedouin. Probably a bit too far. And I think they thought it might have been too far based on his next 2 runs, as in the following time. Oops, let's not get to there just yet. Where is it? He then went to Southall on the all-weather, over 1.3 miles. Now, that was probably too short for him. Not only was it 1.3 miles, it was also on the all-weather. Now, the all-weather generally rides shorter. You want a horse that stays... If your horse wants 1.5 miles and you run it at 1.5 miles on the all-weather, you can get 1.6 miles on the all-weather with a 1.5 mile horse. So the fact that this horse wants 1.5 miles, he probably wanted further on the all-weather than 1.3 miles. So I'm prepared to forgive him that run. He's then going to Newbury tomorrow, over 1.5 miles, on heavy going. That is going to be the question mark, I guess. Does he want this heavy going? But the fact that he's gone well over further, he's ran 3rd over 1.6 miles, he's 6th over 2 mile. The 1.5 mile trip on this soft ground or soft heavy going might well suit him and really bring him into it. And I think I'm prepared to forgive his last run, and then his previous runs before that weren't too bad in Class 2 races. He'd won a Class 4, he's now in a Class 3. I think he's going to run a really big race tomorrow. And it'll be interesting to see what prices they do come up with for Great Bedouin. I'm hoping, because he went off at 5-1 last time out for a Class 3 and disappointed, that we'll get about that tomorrow again. Because it's another Class 3, they'll go, well, it's a similar race. He didn't run very well last time, let's push him out a bit bigger and make him 6-7-1. I'd be very, very happy with that, to be honest. The final horse I want to talk about, I've got to load up the odds for a future race here. It is on Saturday. Bear with me. Saturday. Let's go to this first. It is this handicap here. It is this 3 mile 1 furlong handicap. Now, the horse I like here is Senior Chief, who's currently available at 6-1. I think he should be nearly favourite, if not favourite. And why do I think that? Well, let's have a look at some of his form. Okay, he pulled up in the Irish National last year on heavy going. Maybe that was just a race too far at that stage of his career. But his previous form was very good. On the 18th of February, he finished first, beating Duffel in a beginner's chase. Good effort. He'd also finished on the 20th of January, second, behind Manila Kakuna, off level weights, over 3 mile. Now, Manila Kakuna has come over to England, has won the Bet365 Gold Cup, off a mark of, just getting there, 151. Is now rated 158 in the UK, in England. So if he's rated 158, what do we make Senior Chief, who was not that far behind, 2.5 lengths behind, 16 lengths clear of My Immortal. What would we make him? If he's rated 158 Manila Kakuna, you could say that Senior Chief is probably going to be rated around maybe 150, given how the Manila Kakuna did win quite comfortably. That's where I think you'd be kind of right. He's given a rating of 142. That's not enough. And then even here, look at this race. Punchestown. Third behind Gaelic Warrior and I Know the Way You're Thinking in a beginner's chase. He had no chance there. They're both grade 1 horses. We're not after a grade 1 horse. We're after a handicap. We're not after a grade 1 win here. It's a handicap. The negatives, he pulled up last time. The positives, Henry de Bromhead's prepared to bring him over to Cheltenham. He's put the cheek pieces on for the first time. The race is worth 52 grand. The reason that's a positive, obviously, is it's worth coming over for. If it was worth 10 grand, A, I don't think Henry would have brought the horse over anyway, and also B, it's not worth winning. This is worth winning, this race for Senior Chief. It's over a trip that I think will be fine. He's got some really top-class form, and he's overpriced at 6s. I think he should be nearer. You can actually just see that one just shortened to 5s. I think he might go off joint favourite, if not favourite, with ahead of Broadway Bob. That's Senior Chief for Henry de Bromhead. So there's some selections for tomorrow and one ahead of the game for Saturday.